She was his best friend's little sister. He was the most dangerous man in Chicago. For 9 years, he watched her grow up, knowing he could never touch her. She left, trying to forget him. But when tragedy dragged her back into his mansion, back into his world, he locked the door behind her and said 5 words that changed everything. I am done pretending. What happens when forbidden love collides with a world of power, betrayal, and deadly secrets? One woman, one ruthless man, and a love so dangerous it could destroy them both, or be the only thing that saves them. Stay with me until the very end, because this story will take you places you never expected. This story is a reminder that real love is not about perfection. It is about two broken people choosing each other despite the mess, the fear, and the world telling them they should not. Sometimes the person who hurts you the most is the one fighting the hardest not to lose you. And sometimes the bravest thing you can ever do is stay. Not out of weakness, but because your heart already knows what your mind is still afraid to accept. This was a mistake. I am in the wrong place. The East Wing is forbidden territory after dark. This thin nightgown felt fine in my room, but now, it feels like nothing at all. Adrian Mell needed the financial report for his morning meeting, and I forgot to put it in his office. So here I am, standing in the entrance to his bedroom with the folder in my hand. I am praying he is still downstairs with his team. The room is almost completely dark, lit only by the city glow through giant windows. Everything in here communicates wealth and authority. There are black silk sheets on the bed and severe minimalist furniture. The air smells faintly of expensive cologne. I walk quickly to his desk and place the folder on its surface. The job is done. I am almost back to the door when I hear them, footsteps echoing in the hall. They are getting closer. I stop breathing. He might go to a different room. He might not see me. The door swings open. Adrian Mell fills the space, and my foolish heart begins to pound, the same way it has since I was 16 years old and completely naive. He wears his black, perfectly fitted suit, but his tie is loose. The top button of his shirt is open. His sleeves are rolled up, showing the tattoo on his forearm that I know by heart. His eyes lock onto me immediately. They travel from my bare feet, up my legs, and pause on the nightgown. Finally, they reach my face. A dark emotion crosses his features. Nora. Hearing my name in his voice is different. It sounds deeper, more threatening. What are you doing in my room? I forgot to leave the report. I was just... At midnight. He walks into the room. The door shuts behind him with a quiet click that sounds like a gunshot. In your sleepwear. Warmth rushes into my cheeks. I thought you were still downstairs. I was. Then I received a security alert that someone had entered my private wing. He takes a slow, deliberate step toward me. You can imagine my surprise when the camera feed showed you looking like this. I have to go. Do you? He stands directly in front of me. He is too close. I can smell whiskey on his breath and something else. Something much darker. Or are you starting one of your little games? I am not playing any games. No. His hand rises and braces against the wall next to my head, trapping me. His other hand lifts, and 2 fingers gently guide my chin up, forcing me to meet his gaze. The touch is soft, but absolute. It is impossible to pull away. You want to play? His voice deepens. That sarcastic tone I have known for my whole life has now become something sharp and menacing. Coming into my room dressed like that. Leaving reports as if you are not trying to provoke a response. Adrian, I just forgot. Then you will have to wait until I am finished enjoying this view. His thumb traces my jawline. You have been avoiding me for 3 days. Now you appear here, late at night, looking like every single fantasy I am forbidden to have. I cannot breathe. You are drunk. I am sober enough to understand exactly what I am doing. His gaze falls to my lips, then returns to my eyes, and what I am about to do. He reaches around me. I hear the distinct sound of a key turning in the lock. My heart rate explodes. You want to play games, Nora? His smile is slow and predatory. Then you will remain locked in here with me, just the two of us, close enough to feel the warmth between our bodies. Let us see how long you can maintain the pretense that this is not what you wanted. That is not. I did not come here for that. Did you not? He leans in, his breath warm against my ear. You have been pushing me since the day you returned. The small comments, the long glances. You walk through my house as if you belong here, as if you are not Marco's little sister, as if you are not completely off limits. Then release me. No. The word is final. I am through with being nice. I am done pretending I do not see every single thing that you do. I am finished acting like you do not get under my skin every time you enter a room. His hand moves from my chin to the back of my neck. It is not a tight grip, just a possessive one. So this is what will happen. You will stay here with me. We are going to have a discussion about why you have been deliberately testing me for 3 straight days. I have not been testing you. Lee, my heart is pounding. This is completely insane. It is also long overdue. He lowers his hand and steps away, giving me space I should welcome, but instead resent. Sit. What? Sit on the bed. We are talking. His smile is small and sharp. Unless you would rather I held you against that wall. I am flexible. I go to the bed. I sit on the very edge. I try to appear unaffected. He leans on his desk with his arms crossed, studying me with an expression I cannot decipher. And why did you return, Nora? You already know why. My father died. Marco arranged the job for me. Try again. You could have stayed in Iowa. You could have gone somewhere else. Why come here? Why do it now? Because I was out of money. He pushes away from the desk. You returned because you are not finished with me. Just as I am not finished with you. That is not true. Then leave. He goes to the door. He holds the key up. I will unlock it this second. You can walk right out. Go back to your room. Act as if this never occurred. I should leave. I absolutely must leave, but I stay seated, watching him, hating myself for wanting him to keep that door locked. That is what I thought. He puts the key in his pocket and comes back to stand before me. You are not going anywhere, Reed, and neither am I. Why are you doing this? Because I am tired of pretending. I am tired of watching you flirt with my security team. I am tired of acting like you do not affect me. He crouches down to our eye level. And because you walked into my room wearing that nightgown, and we both know it was not an accident. It was. It was not. His hand finds my knee, just resting there. You wanted this to happen. You wanted me to react. You wanted to see if I would finally break the rules Marco established 10 years ago. My mouth is suddenly dry. You remember that? I remember everything. His voice is hoarse. I remember you at 16, crying over your first breakup. I remember you at 18, walking around in cut-off shorts that drove me out of my mind. I remember the night in the garden when we almost. He stops. I remember all of it, Nora. Every single moment that I was not allowed to have you. Marco had a good reason. Marco's reason was, she is my sister. She is off limits. As if I did not already know that. As if I was not already fighting myself every single time you looked at me. Then why all the other women? The question just comes out. Why Sienna? Why all those models and socialites if I was supposedly so important? Because you were untouchable. His expression becomes hard. Because every time I got close, your brother reminded me that you were forbidden. So I found women who were not. Women who did not matter. Women I could have without breaking the one rule I could not break. That is messed up. That is honest. He stands, towering over me. I am messed up, Nora. I have always been messed up, especially when it comes to you. Silence. The air between us is thick and suffocating. Electric. Let me out, I finally say. Please. Why? Are you scared of what happens if you stay? Yes. His smile comes back. Good. You should be, because if you stay here much longer, I am going to stop being a gentleman about this. You are never a gentleman. True, but I have been trying for Marco, for you, for the last 10 years. He moves over to the window, giving me space. Now I am done trying, so either you leave right now, or you accept that we are having this conversation. All of it. Everything we have been avoiding. I should leave. I should demand the key. I should run back to my safe little room in the staff wing. Instead, I ask, what conversation? He turns. The look on his face takes my breath away. The one where I admit I have wanted you since you were too young for me to want. Where you admit you came back for me. Where we finally stop lying to ourselves about what this is. And what is this? Trouble. His smile is dark. The worst possible kind of trouble. The kind that is going to destroy both of us if we are not careful. Then maybe we should be careful. But we will not be. He crosses back to me. Because you are still sitting on my bed, and I am still watching you like you are the only thing in this room that matters. And neither of us is leaving until we figure out what in the world we are going to do about it. My phone buzzes. A text from Marco. Where are you? Your room is empty. Adrian sees it. He is checking on you. He always does. I know, because he knows I am a threat. Adrian's jaw clenches. Tell him you are fine. I am locked in your room. Tell him you fell asleep in the library, that you will be up in 5 minutes. I stare at him. You want me to lie to my brother? I want 5 more minutes without him breaking down my door. His eyes hold mine. 5 minutes, Nora. Then I will let you go. I promise. Against my better judgment, I text him back. Fell asleep in library. Coming up now. Adrian's smile is slight and triumphant. 5 minutes, I say. Then you unlock that door. 5 minutes. He sits beside me on the bed, close enough to feel his warmth. Starting now. And as I sit there, my heart hammering and my skin on fire from his proximity, I realize 5 minutes with Adrian Mell might be 4 minutes too many. Or maybe, terrifyingly, not nearly enough. Chapter 2. When we were young, 9 years ago. This mansion feels more like a prison in the Chicago heat. I am out back on the basketball court, practicing free throws alone. My shorts are cutoffs, and my tank top is too tight, but it is the only shirt that does not soak with sweat in 5 minutes. Your form is awful. I whirl around. Adrian leans against the chain-link fence, that arrogant smirk already on his face. No one was asking for your feedback. I am providing it anyway. He pushes off the fence and strides onto the court like he owns the place, which he does. You are using all arms and no legs. I am doing just fine. You have missed your last 6 shots. That is not fine. It is pathetic. He takes the ball right out of my hands. Pay attention. He shoots. The ball sails in a perfect arc, sinking through the net. Show off, I grumble. Sore loser. He just grins. Do it again. Bend your knees this time. Follow all the way through. I try. The ball bounces off the rim. See? Awful. I hate you so much. No, you do not. He steps behind me, placing his hands on my shoulders to fix my posture. Keep your feet apart. Bend your knees here. Tuck your elbow. His warm breath is on my neck. My heart is racing for reasons it should not be. Now, take the shot. I shoot. The ball drops cleanly through the hoop. A perfect shot. There it is, Reed. You can be taught after all. I turn around to face him, and he is much closer than I expected. Close enough to see the golden flecks in his dark eyes. Thanks, is all I can say. Do not mention it. He does not step away. I mean that. Do not tell anyone. If Marco asks, you figured it out yourself. Why would my brother care if you helped me with a jump shot? His smile tightens. Marco cares about every little thing concerning you, especially who gets near you. You are not getting near me. You are just showing me how to shoot. Is that all I am doing? His gaze falls to my lips. Step back. This feels like something different. My breath hitches. Different how? Like I am about to make a huge mistake. A very stupid mistake, like what? He moves in a little, as if to test me. I stand my ground. Adrian! The sound of Marco's voice slices through the air. Dad wants to see you inside. Right now. Adrian pulls back instantly, his indifferent mask slipping back on. On my way. He gives me one final, unreadable glance before he turns and leaves. I am left on the court, the basketball forgotten, realizing he was about to kiss me. Even worse, I was going to let him. The whole dynamic between us changed after that afternoon. The next 3 months became a series of games. He would take my books. I would hide his keys. He called me kid. I saw him dating my friend Jennifer, trying to provoke me. I responded by flirting with the new guard. A constant back and forth. Everyone noticed but us. Or maybe we both knew and chose to ignore it. In October, the annual ML Foundation Gala took place. I was not meant to attend. I am from the staff side of the family, but Marco insisted. You are 16 years old now, he said. It is time you learned about the business. Dad also wants you to see this life up close. It was a life of enormous crystal chandeliers, expensive dresses, and men in tailored suits murmuring in Italian. And at the center of it all was Adrian. He was only 23 but carried an authority his father rarely had to enforce. He was with a woman, some model whose name I missed. She was blonde and flawless. She was my opposite in every way. Stop staring, Marco hissed next to me. It is pathetic. I am not. You are, and he can tell. My brother's jaw was tense. Keep your distance from him, Nora. I am serious. We are just friends. No, you are not. You are a girl with a hopeless crush. And he is... Marco trailed off. He is not the one for you. Believe me. You cannot dictate who I can when it is him. Marco's tone was unyielding. He is my best friend. You are my sister. Those two parts of my life will never overlap. Do you understand? I gave him no answer. I just watched Adrian smile at something the model said, his hand resting on the small of her back. His focus was entirely on her, as if I was not even there. In December, the pool party happened during Christmas break. The majority of the family was visiting Italy. Adrian had remained for business, which was code for illegal dealings he never discussed. Marco and my dad were out for the evening. I was supposed to be sleeping over at a friend's house. Instead, I was home, and Adrian was hosting a party in the pool house. The freezing weather outside did not matter when the pool was indoors. The music reached my room. I could see the flashing lights and hear the laughter. I knew I should keep away. But I was 17 then, nearly a grown-up, and I was sick of being treated like a child. So I found the only red swimsuit I owned, a cheap one I got on sale, and I walked into that pool house as if I belonged. The space was crowded with people I vaguely knew from Adrian's meetings, the music thumping, and I saw him. He was in swim trunks, his shirt unbuttoned, his hair wet, wearing that killer smile he gave to everyone but me. Until he saw me standing there. The smile disappeared. Something else took its place. He moved toward me across the room, his steps slow and measured. What are you doing here, Reed? This is my house too. This is an adult party. I am 17, which is almost an adult. I tilted my chin up. No one else seems to have a problem with it. I do. His hand closed around my elbow, his grip firm. Let us go. You need to leave. I just came. Nora. His voice lowered into a warning. Do not argue with me. Or else what? You will toss me out in front of your associates? His jaw tightened. I am not drinking, unlike most people here. I yanked my arm away. If you want me out, you are going to have to make me leave. I saw a flicker in his eyes. Be careful what you wish for. I am not afraid of you. You ought to be. But then his hand moved from my elbow down to my wrist, his touch softer this time. Come on, let me get you out of here before Marco hears about this. He guided me past the guests and out the back door into the garden. The music was distant here, and the air was bitingly cold. I can get back on my own. You have no shoes on, and it is December. You will get frostbite. He pulled off his damp shirt and put it over my shoulders. What were you even thinking? I was thinking that I am sick of being invisible. Invisible? He gave a dark laugh. Nora, you are anything but invisible. You are all I ever see. That is the entire problem. My heart froze. What? Nothing. Forget I mentioned it. He pushed a hand through his damp hair. You should go back inside before you are missed. Adrian. I moved a step closer. What did you mean by that? I meant that you are a complication I cannot afford. You are a risk that will get us both into serious trouble. His eyes locked with mine. And it does not help when you crash my party looking like that. Looking like what? Like every single thought I am forbidden to have. His voice was raw. Like I am going straight to hell for wanting my best friend's baby sister. The truth of it hung in the air between us. I am not a baby. You are 17. I will be 18 in 3 months. And I will still be too old, too dangerous, and completely wrong for you. Yet he stepped toward me. And I will still want you. We were barely apart now. I was wrapped in his shirt, his bare chest so close I could reach out and touch it. Adrian, I need to go. His hand lifted to cup my face. I need to let you go inside and pretend this never happened. But I am done pretending. His thumb brushed against my lip. I am done watching you grow up, knowing I can never have you. Done using other women to try and forget the one woman I truly want. Then do not pretend. My voice was just a whisper, at least for tonight. Stop pretending. He leaned down, so near I could feel his breath on my skin. If I kiss you now, everything changes. Good. He gave a short, pained smile. Nora. Adrian. We jumped apart. Marco stood at the edge of the garden, his face a mask of fury, his hands clenched into fists. Inside. Now, That evening, I lay awake in my room, my heart still pounding, replaying it all. The intensity in his eyes, the moment before he kissed me, the murderous look on Marco's face. My phone vibrated with a text. Adrian, I am sorry. Me. Sorry for what? Adrian. For making things messy. For wanting something I am not allowed to have. For almost crossing a boundary. Me. What if I wanted you to cross it? I watched the 3 dots appear and disappear. Finally, a new message. Adrian. Then we are both in deep trouble. Marco drew a line. You are off limits. Permanently. Me. And what if I do not care what Marco says? Adrian. Then you are stronger than me. I cannot lose him, and I cannot have you. So this thing between us is over, do you understand? Me. I hate you, Adrian. Adrian. I know. It is better for you if you do. 6 months after that night, Adrian began dating again. He was seen with models and society girls, women who belonged in his world. I observed from a distance, pretending it did not sting. He acted as if I no longer existed. Marco appeared. Content. My father sent me to a college in Iowa, telling me it was time I saw more of the world. I accepted, thankful for the space, trying to erase the memory of the boy who almost kissed me in a frozen garden. The man who taught me how to shoot a basketball and then stole my heart. In the present day, I sit on Adrian's bed. My 5 minutes are almost over. Do you remember that night? I ask him quietly. The pool party. He is quiet for a second. I remember all of it. Marco warned you. It was more than a warning. He made his position clear. You were never to be touched. If I did, our friendship would end. The business would end. Everything. So you chose him over me. I chose not to shatter 3 lives. His eyes found mine. You were 17, Nora. I was 24. This was never just about Marco. It was wrong. You were worthy of someone better than a criminal who could not control himself. What if I never wanted better? What if all I wanted was you? Back then, you were just a girl. You had no idea what it meant to be with me. You still deserve better, but I am no longer willing to care. He looked at his watch. Your 5 minutes are over. He got up and unlocked the door. Go back to your room. Go back to being safe. We can keep pretending this is all normal. I knew I should get up and walk out, but I stayed right where I was, looking at him. Or you can stay. We can stop all the pretending, and we can face whatever Marco does to us. His smile was a dark line. The choice is yours, Reed. It was the first real choice he had offered me in 9 years. And for the first time in 9 years, I knew my answer. Lock the door. His eyes went wide. Nora, lock it. We are not finished here. The smile that spread across his lips was pure danger. He locked it, and we both knew we were about to shatter every rule Marco ever made. It was 6 months ago. Returning to Chicago felt like visiting a crime scene. The place was the same, but everything felt wrong. The city was unchanged. The mansion stood as it always had. But I was not the same. I was 25, not 18. I had a college education. I had seen the world. And I carried scars that were deep and invisible. My father was gone. A heart attack, they told me. Quick and without pain. I did not believe a word of it. Marco held me at the airport so tightly I could not get a breath. I am so sorry I was not there, he whispered. You had work, I told him. I get it. Still, he said, you should not have been by yourself. He pulled away, his eyes searching my face. You look exhausted. I am. I picked up my bag. Can we please just go? The ride was silent. Marco kept looking at me as if I might fall apart. I have a job for you, he said at last. If you want the job. What is it? I asked. An administrative role. You would manage the house, events, and suppliers. It is safe work with good pay, and you would live at the mansion. Your old room is just as you left it. Or you can have a staff apartment. The mansion is fine. I looked out the window. Does Adrian know about this? The muscle in Marco's jaw tightened. It is his house. Of course he approved it. That is not what I asked you. He knows. And yes, I told him the rules have not changed. You are off limits. I was supposed to feel safe, protected. All I felt was tired. I am not 18 anymore, Marco. I know that. But he is still Adrian, and you are still my sister. His grip on the wheel grew tighter. Promise you will stay away from him. Away from that world. I promise. The lie felt bitter on my tongue. The truth was, I never forgot the boy who almost kissed me in a snow-covered garden. And now I was going back to live in his house. The first day, I noticed him before he noticed me. He was in the sitting room, yelling into his phone in rapid Italian. His jacket was off, his sleeves were pushed up his arms. I saw the same tattoo on his forearm I remembered staring at when I was young, too young to know why it made my stomach turn. He was older now, harder, and far more dangerous. He was also painfully handsome. I stood in the doorway with Bianca, the house manager who had been there my whole life. He turned, and our eyes met. For 3 full seconds, the world stopped turning. Then, that maddening smirk I had tried to forget appeared on his face. Well, well. He ended the phone call, his eyes still on me. Look who grew up. Adrian. I kept my voice even. Thank you for the job. Thank Marco, he said. He insisted. He walked closer, studying me. But I will admit, I am curious if you are still the troublemaker you used to be. I was never trouble. You were always the troublemaker. He was standing in front of me now, far too close. And you still are, it seems. Those jeans should be forbidden in a business place, Reed. My face burned with heat. They are professional. They are a distraction. His smile grew. But I will permit it, for now. Bianca coughed lightly. Mr. Mel, maybe we should go over Miss Reed's duties. She knows her duties. Keep this house running. Do not ask about the business. And stay out of trouble. His eyes never left my face. Do you think you can do that? I did just fine for 7 years without you. Did you really? A strange look crossed his face. That is funny. I was told you came running back the moment Marco called. It is almost like you missed something here. I missed my family. Your family? Right. He finally took a step back. Bianca can show you everything. Let me know if you need help with anything. Anything at all. The way he said it sent a shiver through me. He left the room, and it felt like all the air went with him. That man, Bianca said under her breath, will be a problem. What do you mean by that? She gave me a look that knew everything. Honey, I have worked in this house for 15 years. I know trouble. And the way that man just looked at you? That is the worst kind of trouble. The first week. We established a routine. It was like a silent war hidden by professional tasks. I was in the kitchen at 6 in the morning, organizing the inventory, when he entered. You are awake early. Someone needs to make your coffee. I did not look away from my tablet. How thoughtful of you. He went to the coffee machine. I can make it myself. The 5 coffee makers you destroyed would disagree. That was a long time ago. Just 6 months ago, Bianca said you smashed one against the wall during a business call. His laugh was a low rumble. It was a very bad call. It was a $3,000 machine. I will try to keep my temper away from the appliances. He drank the coffee and made a face. This is awful. Then make it yourself. But where is the fun in that? He leaned on the counter. I would much rather watch you storm around this kitchen pretending I am not here. I am not pretending. I am working. You are avoiding looking at me. There is a difference. I finally met his eyes. That was a mistake. He was in his gym clothes, his hair wet. He looked powerful. Are you happy now? I snapped. Thrilled. His smile made me furious. How is it being back here? Fine, liar. You hate it. I can see it. I do not hate it. You hate that I am here, in the same house, that you can no longer avoid me like you did for 7 years. He put his cup down. Tell me, Nora, what were you really running from? Was it me, or was it what you felt for me? I was not running. You left the day you graduated. You never came home for holidays. You hardly ever called Marco. That is called running. That is called building a life away from this place. That is called being a coward. His voice became a whisper. But you are back. And we will have to face this thing between us. Ready or not, there is nothing to face. Keep telling yourself that, Reed. He went to the door, then paused. By the way, you still bite your lip when you get nervous. Some things never change. I had not even realized I was doing it. Damn him for seeing everything. Week 3. The games got worse. He would have meetings in the library while I was trying to work. Am I distracting you? I asked, as 5 men in suits spoke in quiet Italian. Not at all. Please stay. You are a beautiful distraction. His smile was a weapon. I stayed. Leaving would have felt like surrender. He found me in the garden while I was reading. An interesting book choice. He pointed at it. A romance novel, in the open. You are brave. It is a good story. So who do you relate to, the Mafia king or the innocent girl? He sat next to me without an invitation. Actually, do not answer. I already know. You do not know anything about me. I know you used to come to this garden at sunset because the light was perfect for reading. I know you fold the page corners instead of using bookmarks because you like to feel where you stopped. I know. Stop it. My voice came out sharper than I wanted. Stop pretending you ever noticed me. You barely knew I was alive. After Marco told you to stay away from me. His face hardened. After I was forced to watch you leave for school and pretend it meant nothing. After 7 years of wondering if you would ever return. You did not look like you missed me. You were very busy with... I could not finish. With who? The models? The wealthy girls? He moved closer. Do you want to know a secret, Reed? Every single one of them was a cheap copy of the only woman I ever really wanted. My breathing stopped. Do not. Do not what? Tell you the truth? That I was counting the days until you were 18, and I hated myself for it? That when you left, I told myself it was for your own good? He reached out and gently closed my book. But you are back now, and I am done pretending. Adrian, Nora. Marco's voice shattered the moment. Meeting in 5 minutes. I need you to take the notes. Adrian stood up, suddenly all business. Duty is calling. He gave me my book. We will finish this talk later. He walked away, leaving my heart pounding. I hated how much I wanted later to arrive. Week 5. That is when he began bringing women to the house. He never took them to his room. He brought them to dinner, to his meetings, to the living room where I was trying to work. Nora, this is Sienna. I think you two are old friends. Sienna Clark. She had been my best friend in high school. Now she was polished, in designer clothes, with perfect makeup, holding on to Adrian's arm as if she owned him. Nora. Oh my God, I heard you were back. She did not release Adrian. You look different. Good, but wholesome. The word was an insult. Thanks. You look successful. I try. She laughed and touched Adrian's chest. Adrian has been giving me a tour. This house is even more incredible than I remembered. I am sure it is. I looked at Adrian. Did you need something else, or can I get back to the inventory? You can finish. His gaze held mine. Sienna and I are having dinner. Plans anyway. How nice. I collect my papers. Have fun. I make it into the hallway before the tears start. Bianca discovers me in the linen closet, crying into a pillowcase. He is doing it on purpose. She says this quietly. Doing what? Making you jealous? Testing you? Seeing if you care? She sits down beside me. That man is a fool. But he is a fool who has been in love with you since you were 16, and he does not know how to handle it except by pushing you. If he loved me, he would not do this. If he loved you smartly, he would not. But Adrian Mell has never done anything smart when it comes to you. Just reactive, just messy, just very, very stupid. Week 6. I decide to play the game too. Nate, the head of security, is attractive, funny, and completely safe. I begin to have lunch with him, laugh at his jokes, and let him walk me to my car when I run errands. It is harmless and friendly, but Adrian does not see it that way. He watches in silence, his jaw tight. One night, as Nate walked me to my room, Adrian appeared just as I was about to close the door. He was leaning against the frame, his presence filling the hallway. He told me that everything in this house was his business, especially when it involved one of his men getting too friendly with his property. I crossed my arms, demanding he clarify what I was to him. He could not give me a straight answer. I told him he sent mixed signals, flirting one moment and bringing other women home the next. I demanded he pick one. He said he could not because my brother Marco was not there. He warned me to stop looking at Nate as if he were a source of safety. He insisted that nobody in this house was safe, especially not him. I told him maybe I should just leave. His response was a sharp, desperate command not to go. He pleaded with me to stay. It was the plea that broke my resolve. I agreed to stay. As he turned to leave, he stopped. He asked me, very nicely, to stay away from Nate. His smile turned dark as he explained that he was only asking nicely this one time. If I did not listen, he would stop being nice. He promised I would see just how possessive he could truly be. He left me standing there, realizing our game was no longer fun. It had become dangerous, and neither one of us knew how to stop playing. You wear something nice and smile prettily for the cameras. She zips up the back. There, you look beautiful. I stare at my reflection. The dress is simple, navy blue, elegant but not flashy. My hair is pulled back, minimal makeup. I look exactly like what I am, someone trying not to be noticed. Perfect, Bianca says. Now go down there and survive the next 4 hours without either Mel brother causing a scene. The ballroom is packed. There are crystal chandeliers, a string quartet, and waiters with champagne. People in designer everything are discussing business that probably is not legal. I stay near the edges, taking notes for Bianca, making sure everything runs smoothly. Then I see her. Sienna, in a red dress that probably costs more than my car, is on Adrian's arm, looking like she belongs there. My chest grows tight. Nora! She spots me immediately. She waves. Come say hi. I have no choice but to walk over. Adrian's eyes follow my approach. There is something unreadable in his expression. Does she not look amazing? Sienna gushes, gesturing to herself. Adrian surprised me with this dress. Is he not the best? The best? I echo flatly. We were just talking about the summer we all spent at the lake house, remember? You, me, and… Oh, what was that boy's name? The one with the boat. I do not remember. A lie. I remember everything about that summer, including the night Adrian showed up unannounced and spent the entire weekend barely speaking to me. Well, anyway. Sienna's hand slides up Adrian's arm. Possessive. It is so nice that you are working here. Adrian says you are very efficient. The way she says efficient makes it sound like an insult. I do my job. Of course you do. Her smile is sharp. Someone has to manage the help, right? The comment lands like a slap. His expression grew dark. I told him I needed to check on the catering and turned away quickly. In the kitchen, I pressed my hands against the cool marble counter and took a deep breath. I tried to convince myself I was fine, that this was just professional. But it was a lie. Seeing Adrian with another woman made me feel like I was 16 years old all over again. I felt invisible and inadequate. Nate found me in the doorway, his face full of concern. He knew I was not okay. He kindly offered to get some real food with me, joking that the party snacks tasted like cardboard. I could not help but laugh. It felt good. Nate told me Adrian had been glaring at a security monitor for the last 10 minutes. My stomach tightened. I tried to dismiss it, saying he was probably just checking the cameras. Nate insisted he was watching me. He had worked security for 3 years and knew the difference. He told me everyone in the house could see what was happening between us. We had been circling each other like tigers for 2 months straight. He said life was too short to play games with someone I cared about. I denied it, but he saw right through me. He said Adrian cared too, but was too stubborn to admit it. My brother Marco was talking with some men, his voice full of pride as he said I was managing the household. One man noted I was a pretty girl and single. Marco's expression tightened as he said I was off limits. Another man joked that I was practically family, living and working in the house. That is when Adrian's voice cut through the noise. It was cold and sarcastic. He laughed a mean, sharp laugh. He announced to everyone that I was the help. He told them not to get confused about the roles we played. The room went quiet. He declared that nobody would look twice at me unless he was paying them to. The silence was absolute and crushing. My vision narrowed until the room seemed to spin. I could not believe he had said that. The triumphant look on his new companion Sienna's face confirmed that he had. I do not remember leaving the ballroom or getting to my room. I just remember locking the door and sliding to the floor. Hot, angry tears of humiliation streamed down my face. His words echoed in my head, each repetition cutting deeper than the last. A soft knock came at the door. It was Marco. He took one look at my face and pulled me into a hug. He said he was going to kill him. I told him Adrian was not worth it. I pulled away, wiping my eyes, insisting that Adrian meant every single word. I was just the help. The girl from the servants' quarters. Marco framed my face with his hands and told me I was worth everything. I asked why it hurt so much. He said it was because I loved him, and I always had. He blamed himself for bringing me back, thinking enough time had passed for them to grow up. He compared Adrian to their father, who treated their mother as if she was beneath him. Marco then told me to pack a bag. He said I was leaving that night and he would find me a new job, far away from this house. I would not be staying another night. Just then, the door swung open. Adrian stood there, his tuxedo loose, his hair a mess, and his eyes wild. He ordered Marco to get out. It was a command, not a request. I asked for 5 minutes alone with him. Marco left, and Adrian locked the door behind him. An ocean of pain separated us as we stood 10 feet apart. He finally said he was sorry. I asked if he was sorry for calling me the help or for making sure everyone knew I was beneath him. He flinched and said he was drunk. I told him he was just being honest. To humiliate me in front of everybody? He falls silent. It was because Sienna asked if we were together, and I panicked. You panicked? I panicked. If I had told the truth that I have loved you since you were 16, Marco would end me. The family would pass judgment on you. You would become a mark. So I lied. It was a bad, cruel lie, and I wrecked the only person I was trying to keep safe. The words just hang there. You do not love me, I whisper. You just... I have loved you for 9 years. His voice cracks. 9 years of watching you, of wanting you, and hating myself for it. I used other women to try to forget you, and failed every single time. Then why? Because love makes me cruel. It makes me an idiot. It makes me say awful things because I am terrified of losing my control. He takes a step closer. And tonight, when Sienna cornered me, with everyone staring, when I felt trapped, I struck out at the one person who would not strike back. You. I am not a target. You are. For me, for my enemies, for anyone who would use you to get to me. His fists tighten. That is why I kept my distance, why I brought other women here, why I have been a monster for 2 months. Because letting you get close means putting you in harm's way. And I cannot do that. I will not. Stop. The tears are flowing freely now. Just stop. You are not allowed to shatter me and then tell me it was to protect me. That is not what love is. That is cowardice. I know. You wounded me. I know. In front of the entire family. You made me feel worthless. I know. And I will live with that regret every day for the rest of my life. He is right in front of me. So close I could reach out. But I am finished. Finished with the lies. Finished with hiding. Finished pretending I do not love you so much it feels like it is killing me. Adrian, I love you, Nora Reed. I have loved you since you were 16 and crashed my pool party. Since you stood up to me, in the garden. Since you went away to college and I spent 7 years trying to get over you. His hand rises, his fingers brushing my cheek. I should move away, but I cannot. I love you, and I am scared to death. And I do not know how to do this without destroying both of us. But I cannot keep lying. Not for one more second. My heart is pounding against my ribs. You do not mean that. I mean every single word. Then show me. My voice is even now, completely clear. Words are cheap. Your actions are what count. And right now, all I see is a man who hurts me, and then asks for my forgiveness. Then tell me what to do. Tell me how I can fix this. I need time. I need space to decide if loving you is worth all this pain. He lets his hand fall and steps away. All right. All right. Time, space, whatever you require. His smile is sorrowful. But I am not giving up, Reed. I will wait. No matter how long it takes, because you are worth the wait. He unlocks the door and leaves me standing there, torn apart and put back together in the same moment. I wonder if love is always supposed to hurt this much, or if we are just too damaged to ever get this right. Chapter 5. The Mistake. Hello, my love. Thank you for being here with me. I have a small favor to ask. How would you rate this story from 1 to 10? And please leave a suggestion for what you would like to see more of. Tell me what you crave. The more you share, the better I can deliver the stories that make your heart race. Leave your thoughts here. I promise to read every word. Let us dream together. Now, let us continue. 3 days later, I am packing my bags while Bianca tries not to cry. You do not have to leave, she says for the 5th time. It will all calm down. Those boys are always fighting and then making up. I am not fighting with him. I am gone. I fold another shirt into my suitcase. Marco helped me find an apartment. It is in a good neighborhood, not far from the city. I will start looking for a job tomorrow. Honey, that boy loves you. He has a truly awful way of showing it. I zip my suitcase shut. I need distance to figure out if love is really enough when it is delivered with humiliation. She gives me a tight hug. You have to call me every day. I have to know you are all right. I will. And Nora, just so you know, that boy has been completely miserable since the party. He is not sleeping, he is barely eating. He just works and glares at your empty chair like it did something to him. Good. Maybe he will learn his lesson. But the thought gives me no satisfaction. Adrian makes no move to stop me. He watches from his office window as Marco loads my car. He does not come down. He does not call. He just watches. I tell myself it is a relief, that his silence proves I made the correct decision. The knot in my chest tells a different story. Week 1. The apartment is small, clean, and quiet. It is too quiet. I am used to the mansion, the noise, Bianca's constant humming, Nate's jokes. Even Adrian's maddening presence made the house feel alive. This place feels like a crypt. I apply for jobs online and land a couple of interviews. None of them work out. Marco visits every day, bringing food, checking on me. He is asking about you. You know, he says one night over dinner. Do not. I am just telling you. Marco, please stop. He lets out a sigh. Fine. But I have never seen him this torn up. Not even after Dad died. He will be fine. But will you? I do not have an answer. Week 2. I land a job at a marketing agency. It is an entry-level position. It is boring, but it covers my rent. The people I work with are nice. They are normal. No one has guns or whispers in Italian about their territory. It is supposed to feel like freedom. Instead, it feels like I have been banished. That is when the rumors begin. Bianca is the first to tell me. People in the house are talking about money that has gone missing from one of Adrian's accounts. What does that have to do with me? Probably nothing. But someone brought up your name. They said you had access to the house accounts, that you were always there when packages arrived. A chill runs down my spine. They actually think I stole from him. I do not know what they think. But Adrian has been looking into it quietly, and your name was mentioned. I did not take a single thing. I know that. And you know that. But in that world, being suspected is as good as being guilty. Week 3. The situation becomes painfully clear when Marco stops visiting. He calls me instead, his voice strained. Did you take money from Adrian's accounts? What? No. Why would you even ask that? Someone transferred $50,000 the day after the party. It came from a business account that you had some access to. Adrian is asking questions. I never touched his money. Then how did the transfer happen? I cannot explain it. I did not do it. My voice starts to rise. Marco, you know who I am. You know I would never do that. I want to believe you. But Adrian showed me the transaction records. It was your login, your access code. The transfer was made from your computer. My computer was in the office that night. Anybody could have used it. But nobody else did. The timestamp shows it happened after you had already left, from your bedroom. I was packing my things. I was not. Marco, please. I need you to believe me. There is only silence on the line. Then he says, I do not know what to believe anymore. Just stay away from the house, at least until this is figured out. He ends the call. I just stare at my phone, trembling. Someone framed me. Someone used my access, my computer, and my name, and now my own brother thinks I am a thief. Week 4. I stop answering my phone. Bianca leaves panicked voicemails, begging me to call her. Nate sends texts saying Adrian has been strange, but he will not say more. I ignore them all. What is the use? Adrian believes I stole from him. Marco no longer trusts me. The rest of the family probably thinks I am exactly what Adrian called me at that party. Just the help, ungrateful and disloyal. It is better to just vanish. I am working late one evening when my new boss, Richard, a married man in his mid-40s, asks me to come into his office. Nora, do you have a second? Of course. He shuts the door and perches on the edge of his desk. He is too close. I have been very impressed by your work. Truly impressed. Thank you. As a matter of fact, I think you have a lot of potential here. Leadership material. His hand comes to rest on my shoulder. If you play your cards correctly. My stomach clenches. I appreciate that. You do? His hand drifts down my arm. Because I can put you on the fast track, get you better assignments, more money. All you need to do is... I take a step back. I am not interested. His smile turns to ice. That is a shame. I was hoping we could be friendly. Friendly? Very friendly. He moves toward me. Think about it. A girl like you, with no connections, no family to back you up, living all alone in this city. You could really use a mentor, someone with power. I already told you, I am not interested. Then perhaps you should reconsider your employment at this firm. His voice becomes cold and hard. Because girls who refuse to cooperate do not tend to last very long around here. I am walking to my car in the parking garage. It is dark, empty, and terrifying. That is when I notice someone is behind me. It is not Richard. It is someone else. A man, large, walking with a clear purpose. I grip my keys in my hand. My phone is in my pocket. My heart is pounding. Excuse me, Miss Reed. I do not look back. I just walk faster. I only want to talk to you. I am not interested. A hand clamps down on my arm, spinning me around. It is not aggressive or violent, but it is firm. I cannot break free. I am not going to hurt you. I am just here with a message. From who? From someone who believes you have information about Adrian Mell. Someone who is willing to pay a lot for that information. I do not work there anymore. But you used to, and you know things that could be valuable. He offers me a business card. Call this number. Tell them your price. It is easy money. I am not for sale. Just think about it. You are all alone, stuck in a dead-end job with no one to support you. Adrian Mell cast you aside. Why would you protect him? He lets go of my arm and walks away. I stand there shaking, the card in my hand. And for the very first time, I have to wonder. Did Adrian send that man? Is this some kind of test? Or are his enemies really this brazen? I am at my apartment door, my hands still trembling as I try to unlock it, when I feel a presence behind me. I whip around, my keys held out like a weapon. Adrian is standing there in the hallway. He does not look threatening or angry. He just looks like he has not slept in weeks. What are you doing here? My voice comes out sharper than I meant it to. I need to know you are safe. I am fine, but you are being followed. A man in a garage tried to recruit you, and your boss is harassing you. His jaw clenched. So you are not fine. How could you know that? Were you watching me? Yes. His honesty was shocking. You have no right. I have every right. You are in this danger because of me. People believe you have information about my business. Someone stole money and framed you for it. He pushed a hand through his hair. So, yes, I have been watching, and I will not apologize for it. You believe I stole from you? No. His face softened. I never believed that, not even for a moment. But Marco said, Marco is a fool who makes assumptions. I showed him the transaction logs to see if he recognized who might have accessed your account. He assumed that meant I suspected you. Adrian moved a step closer. I know you took nothing, Nora. I have known it since the very beginning. Then why did you not tell me? Why did you let me believe I was a thief? Because I am conducting an investigation. If someone set you up, they are watching for our reaction. I had to make them think we were convinced that we had turned against you, that you were alone and vulnerable. So I was your bait, so you would be protected. Nate has been following you, ensuring no one could get near you, ensuring you were safe. His voice grew thick with emotion. I would never allow anything to happen to you. You let my own brother think I was a criminal. I told Marco the truth yesterday. I confirmed the real thief was an acquaintance of Sienna, trying to create conflict between our families. He offered a grim smile. She has been dealt with. Dealt with how? Do not ask questions you do not want answers to. We just stood in the dim hallway, with so much left unsaid between us. I miss you, he finally admitted. I miss you terribly. It is destroying me. Adrian, I am not asking you to return. I am not asking for your forgiveness. I am only asking that you let me keep you safe. Let me handle this. After that, I will leave you alone. I promise. You are terrible at leaving me alone. I know. But I will make myself, if that is what you want. Is that what I want? To be free of him? To finally move on? To forget 9 years of wanting him? I no longer know what I want. Then let me simplify it for you. Come back to the mansion, only for a few days, until I am certain the danger has passed. You can have your old room. We do not have to speak. We do not have to do a thing. Just let me know that you are safe. Marco knows the truth now. He supports this. He wants you safe as well. I should refuse. I should create distance. I should protect my heart. But the man from the garage is still out there. Richard is still my boss. The world suddenly feels much more dangerous than it did a month ago. 3 days, and then I am leaving. 3 days. The relief that washed over him was obvious. Thank you. That evening I was back in my old room. It had the same bed and the same view, but I was a different person. My phone vibrated. Adrian wrote, "Thank you for trusting me when I do not deserve it." I typed back, "I do not trust you. I am just so tired of being on my own." Adrian wrote, "I will accept that." I replied, "3 days, and I am gone." Adrian wrote, "We will see." I just stared at his 2 words, "We will see," as if he knew something I did not, as if he was orchestrating something I would never anticipate. And despite all of it, the pain, the shame, the weeks apart, a part of me wanted to discover what it was. Day 1. I was back at the mansion. I successfully avoided him for the entire day. It was not hard. He was in meetings all day. His kind of business. The kind with men in suits who spoke Italian and looked serious. I remained in my room. I ordered delivery, because going to the kitchen meant I might see him. Bianca knocked on my door around 8. "This is absurd. You are hiding from him." "I am not hiding. I am setting boundaries. You are being stubborn. There is a difference." She placed a tray on my desk. "Homemade lasagna. It was my favorite. He asked me to cook this for you. He said you were probably not eating well." "I eat just fine. You have lost weight." "I can tell." Her face softened. "He is concerned about you, honey. We all are. I am here now. I am safe." That is what he wanted. That is what he demanded. What he truly wants is you. But he is too proud and foolish to admit it without making a mess of things first. She was gone before I could think of a reply. I ate the lasagna. It tasted like coming home. I hated that he still understood exactly what I needed. Day 2. Marco found me in the library. "Can we please talk? If this is another apology, this is an explanation." He sat down opposite me, looking tired, older than I recalled. "I should have trusted you. I should have known you would never betray our family." But Adrian presented the evidence and I panicked. "You really believed I was capable of stealing. I thought you might be trying to hurt him for what he said at the party." Marco's voice was low. "I thought perhaps you were seeking revenge. And to be honest, I would not have blamed you. His confession shocked me. You thought I would hurt him. I thought you had every reason to. He leaned forward. Nora, what he said to you, what he did, I wanted to kill him. I have never felt such anger toward anyone in my life. He humiliated you. He made you feel worthless. And I just stood there while it happened. You did not know what he was going to say. I should have done a better job of protecting you. I should have pulled you from that room as soon as he opened his mouth. His fists tightened. But I froze. And you were the one who suffered. Marco, I am sorry I did not trust you, that I did not defend you, that I brought you back to this house at all. He looked at me, really saw me. You need to leave, and this time for good. Get away from Adrian, from me, from all of this. Is that what you want? No. What I want is for you to be safe. And you are not safe in this place. He stood up. But I also know you are not going to leave. Not really. Because you love him, and he loves you, and you are both too stubborn to just... He trailed off. Figure this out before you end up destroying each other. He left me with his words. Figure it out. As if it were that easy. As if love was not the most complicated thing I had ever experienced. Day 2. Late. I could not sleep. The mansion was too silent, filled with too many memories, haunted by everything that had transpired. I was in the kitchen in an old shirt and shorts, making tea. That is when I heard them. Voices from Adrian's office, loud and angry, followed by a crash. My heart froze. I should have stayed away, minded my own business, followed my own rules. Instead, I moved toward the noise. The office door was slightly ajar. Adrian was inside, alone. A phone was on the floor, likely the source of the crash. Papers were scattered everywhere, and his hands were pressed on his desk as if to hold himself upright. Adrian. He turned sharply, his eyes wild before he brought them under control. You should be in bed. I heard a noise. Are you all right? Fine. It is just business. But his voice was rough and tight. I stepped into the room and closed the door behind me. What happened? It is nothing that concerns you. Adrian, what happened? He was quiet for a long time. The man who approached you in the parking garage. He is dead. He was shot 2 hours ago. My stomach twisted. What? Someone had him killed. It was a professional job. Clean. There were no witnesses. His jaw tightened. A message was sent. A message for whom? For me. For anyone who thinks they can use you to get to me. He finally met my gaze. They are escalating things, using you as a pawn, and I cannot protect you unless you are here. You believe they will target me. I know they will. That is why I had to have you back. That is why Nate has been watching you. It is why I have not slept in 3 weeks. His composure finally started to break. And because if anything were to happen to you, it would ruin me. And they know it. How do they know that? Because I made it so obvious at the party by humiliating you. His laugh was hollow. I was trying to push you away. I was trying to make them believe you meant nothing to me. Instead, I showed everyone exactly how much you do, by calling you worthless, by reacting like a man terrified of losing something he feels he cannot have. He walked around the desk, coming closer. Everyone there saw it. The panic, the extreme reaction, the kind of cruelty that only comes from pure fear. And now you are a target because I was unable to hide my feelings. So this is my fault, for making you feel something. This is my fault, for being too weak to stay away. His hands rose to frame my face, his touch gentle despite the fire in his eyes. I should have left you alone. I should have let you go away to college and never looked back. I should have married some socialite and forgotten you ever existed. But I could not. Because you are under my skin, you are in my blood. You are the only thing that has felt real in 9 years. Adrian, I love you. The words escaped, raw and unplanned. I love you, and it is killing me. Because loving you means putting you in direct danger. It means watching as others try to use you to hurt me. It means knowing the only way to keep you safe is to let you go. And I cannot do it. I am too selfish, too obsessed, too utterly ruined by you. My breath hitched. You are not ruined. I am. You ruined me when you were 16 and crashed my pool party wearing that ridiculous red bathing suit. You ruined me when you went away to college, and I spent 7 years just hoping you would return. You ruined me when you came back into this house and looked at me as if I were still the boy who nearly kissed you in the garden. He pressed his forehead against mine. I am ruined, Nora. Completely. And I am finished pretending that I am not. Tears stung my eyes. You hurt me. I know. You made me feel like I was nothing. I know. And I will regret it for the rest of my life. His thumbs gently stroked my cheeks. But I need you to see. I did not say those things because I thought they were true. I said them because I am terrified. Of you. Of what you make me feel. Of how desperately I want you when I know that I should not. Then stop pushing me away. I am trying. I am trying so hard. His voice cracked. But I do not know how to love you without putting you in harm's way. Without it destroying us both. Then maybe we can figure it out together. My hands came up to cover his. Maybe we can stop running, stop hiding, and stop pretending this is not exactly what we both want. What if you break me again? Then I swear I will leave. I hold his gaze. But you have one final chance, Adrian. One chance to show me you can love me without ruining me. To prove this is genuine. It is genuine. His voice is raw with feeling. It is the most real thing in my life. Then show me. He kisses me. It is not gentle. It is not hesitant. It is 9 years of desire in one single touch. His hands tangle in my hair. Mine grip his shirt. Every emotion I have suppressed surges through me. He tastes of whiskey and regret, and the feeling of home. When we finally part, both of us breathless, he presses his forehead to mine. I am going to ruin this, he whispers. I will be possessive and jealous and toxic in ways I cannot even see yet. I know. And you are still here. I am still here for now. I lean back a little. But Adrian, if you ever shame me, like that again, if you ever make me feel worthless or insignificant, I will be gone. No more chances, no excuses, just gone. Do you understand? I understand. His smile is small and sad. Thank you. For what? For giving me a chance I know I do not deserve. We remain there in his office, holding each other. The world outside is still a threat. But for the first time in weeks, it feels like something I can handle. Stay with me tonight, he says softly. Just to sleep. Nothing more. I just need you near me. Okay. He takes my hand and leads me up the stairs. Not to my own room, but to his. The room where all of this started, where he turned the lock and asked if I was ready to play. This time there are no games. There is only him, pulling me into his bed, wrapping his arms around me as if he fears I might vanish. I missed you, he says into my hair. Every single second of every day. I missed you too. Saying it out loud feels like liberation. Even when I despised you, a part of me missed you. Good, because I am not letting you go a second time. His embrace tightens. You are mine now, Nora. For good this time, and I will spend every day proving it for as long as you will have me. That is a huge promise. It is the only promise that matters. I drift to sleep in his arms, feeling safe against all odds, feeling loved despite the danger, feeling at home even though this could all shatter by morning. But for this one night, it is enough. Day 3, morning. I wake to an empty bed. Panic flares instantly. Did he go? Did he have a change of heart? The door swings open. Adrian enters holding a breakfast tray. Coffee, toast, and fruit. You are awake. You brought me breakfast. I told you I would prove it. I am starting now. He puts the tray down and sits on the bed's edge. How are you feeling? Confused. Happy. Terrified. Me too. His hand finds mine, but I am finished with running, finished with pushing you away, finished with pretending I do not want this exact thing. This, you in my bed, as part of my life, inside my world. He kisses my knuckles. Whatever is required, however much time it takes, you are worth the effort. Even if it is dangerous, especially if it is dangerous. I am skilled at dangerous. His smile is faint. I am awful with emotions. But for you, I am willing to learn. That is very romantic coming from a mob boss. I am a romantic mob boss. It is my new identity. I laugh in spite of everything. And for a moment, the weight of the world feels a little lighter. Chapter 7. Surrender. Day 3. Evening. The day exists in a strange, quiet bubble. Adrian postpones all his meetings to stay home. We avoid talking about the future, or the threats, or what will happen when my 3 days are over. We simply are. Together. He tries to make lunch. I laugh at how bad his cooking is. We eat burned grilled cheese sandwiches and act like they are a delicacy. We stroll through the gardens. He shares stories of his childhood in this house, the mischief he caused, the immense pressure he was under, becoming the man he is because there was no other path. I never wanted this life, he admits in a low voice. The business, the violence, always having to watch my back. Then why not walk away? Because it is not just about my life. It is about Marco, the other families, all the people who rely on me. He halts his steps and turns to me. But if you asked me to abandon all of it tomorrow, I would do it without a second thought. I am not asking for that. I know. But I want you to understand that you are more important than any of it. The empire, the power, the family name, none of it has any meaning if I lose you. Later that night, he comes to find me in the library. I am curled on a sofa, reading, lost in a place far less complicated than this one. What are you reading? I show him the book. Romance, of course. His smile is gentle. Let me guess. A dark, brooding hero. An innocent heroine. A love they cannot have. Perhaps art is imitating life. He sits next to me, close enough that we are almost touching. Or maybe life is imitating art. Both. I put the book down. Adrian, we have to discuss what is next. I know. He takes my hand in his. Your 3 days are nearly over. They are. And I imagine you are making plans to leave, to return to your apartment, your job, your predictable, safe existence. I was. Past tense. I shift to face him directly, because somewhere between the burnt sandwiches and the garden walk, I had a revelation. What is that? I do not want safety. I do not want normal. My voice is firm. I want this version of you, even with the mess and the danger and the complete insanity. His face is a conflict of hope and disbelief. Nora, but I need a promise from you, anything. No more tests, no more using other women to provoke me, no more shutting me out when you feel afraid. I squeeze his hand. If we are going to do this, truly do this, I require all of you. Not only the pieces you decide are worthy. Everything. The good, the bad, and the frightening. You have no idea what you are asking for. I know precisely what I am asking for. I am asking for honesty, for a partnership, for you to believe that I am strong enough to survive in your world. I lean in. Because I am, Adrian. I have always been that strong. You just never let me show you. He is silent for a very long time. Then you are right. I am what? You are right about all of it. I have been shielding you from things you never needed protection from. I treated you like you were delicate when you are the most resilient person I have ever met. His hand rises to cup my face. I am sorry for underestimating you, for failing to see what was right here the whole time. And what is that? That you are not some naive girl in need of rescue. You are a woman who knows her own mind, who is strong enough to stand with me, not behind me. Who has been prepared for this since the day you returned? His thumb brushes my cheek. I was the one who was not ready. I kept running because I did not believe I was worthy of you. And now? Now I am done running. He moves closer. Now I am asking, will you stay? Not just for 3 days, not as a temporary arrangement. Stay. Make a life with me. Be my partner in every way that counts. My heart pounds in my chest. That is a huge question. It is the only question that matters. His eyes lock with mine. I love you, Nora Reed. I have loved you since you were 16 and far too young for me to feel that way. I love you today. And I will love you 50 years from now when we are old and gray and probably still bickering about everything. You are assuming my answer is yes. I am hoping your answer is yes. His smile is small, vulnerable. But if you say no, I will accept it. I will let you walk away. I will make sure you are safe and taken care of, and that no one ever bothers you again. And I will live the rest of my days, knowing I let the greatest thing in my life go. His declaration fills the quiet space. That is incredibly dramatic. I am Italian. Drama is in my blood. But his voice is serious. What do you say, Reed? Will you take a risk on a broken man who is hopelessly in love with you? I pretend to consider it. That depends. Are you going to kiss me, or are you going to keep talking? His laugh is a low rumble. I can definitely kiss you. Then stop talking. And he does, his mouth finding mine before I can say another word. It is not like the other times. It is not driven by desperation or fueled by anger. This kiss is unhurried, thoughtful, a vow in every movement. His hands hold my face as if I am something priceless. Mine find their way into his hair. The book slips from my lap to the floor. Nora, he whispers against my lips. Tell me to stop. Why would I ever do that? Because if this does not stop now, I am going to take you upstairs and spend the entire night demonstrating exactly how much I love you. A wave of heat rushes through me, and that is supposed to make me want to stop? His smile is wicked. Last chance, Reed. Say the word and I will act like a gentleman. We can take our time. Wait until Adrian. Yes? Stop being a gentleman. I have already waited 9 years. I am done waiting. A new fire lights up his eyes. You are certain? Completely certain. He rises to his feet, lifting me as if I weigh nothing. Then hold on tight. He carries me through the grand house, up the staircase, past my own room, and into his. The room where we started. Where he locked the door and asked if I wanted to play. This time, when the lock clicks, it is not a game. It is a commitment. He sets me gently on my feet beside the bed, his hands tender as they sweep my hair from my face. I need you to know something before we... He pauses. He starts over. I have been with other women. Far too many. None of them meant anything. None of them were you. Adrian, let me finish, please. His hands frame my face. You matter. You have always been the one who mattered. I want this to be different. For it to mean something. To be real. It already means something. I kiss him gently. It has always meant something. Since we were just kids. Since that night in the garden. Since I came back here and you stood in that doorway, looking at me like I was the only soul in the universe. You were. You are. He kisses me again, more deeply this time. You are the only person who has ever truly seen me. Not the boss. Not the criminal. Just me. Then show me all of you. No more barriers. No more hiding. His self-control visibly shatters. If I start, I will not be able to stop. Good. Do not stop. He kisses me like a man who is drowning, like I am the air and the water and everything he could ever need to survive. He told me to look at him as I closed my eyes. He wanted to see all of me, every single moment. So I watched his face as we moved together, and I saw the same sense of wonder reflected in his eyes. This was not just physical. It felt emotional and spiritual. It was everything. He told me he loved me against my skin. My hand slid down his back as I asked him to show me just how much. And he did. The entire world faded away until it was just the two of us. His heart beat under my palm. My name was on his lips. It was the feeling of finally being exactly where we belonged. Afterward, we lay tangled in the sheets, our hearts still racing. He pulled me close, kissing my shoulder and my neck. He whispered for me to stay, not just for the night, but forever. I said that forever was a long time. He said it was not long enough. His arms tightened around me as he spoke of wanting decades together. He wanted to wake up next to me every morning and fall asleep with me every night. He wanted everything with me. He shifted so we were face to face. Then he asked me to marry him. My heart stopped. He asked me to marry him soon as possible. He said he had loved me for 9 years, and he was done waiting. His eyes were pleading, full of a desperate hope. I know this is not the normal way, but I want you to be mine, officially, permanently, in every way that counts. My own eyes started to burn. You are completely insane, he asked softly. Is that a yes? I stopped and truly looked at him, seeing everything in his face. Ask me again in 6 months, I said. After we have learned to navigate your world together. I need to know this is real, not just... He waited. Not just 9 years of desire finally being released. His face softened with understanding. Fair enough. 6 months it is. He leaned closer. But Nora, in 6 months I am asking again, and I will not take no for an answer. We will see, I whispered. He kissed me gently. And you will say yes, because you love me, and because we are inevitable. You are very confident, I said. Completely. His smile was devastating. Now come here. I am not finished showing you how much I love you. Adrian, we just did, I started to say. I know, he interrupted, and I want to again and many more times before the sun comes up. His hand slid up my back. I have 9 years of wanting to make up for. We barely slept. Each time we started to drift off, one of us would reach for the other. The kisses would become deeper, the touches more gentle, and we would lose ourselves completely. By dawn, we were happy, exhausted, and wonderfully wrecked. I am never letting you out of this bed, he murmured against my hair. I have to leave sometime. Marco will organize a search party. Marco can wait. The entire world can wait. He held me tighter. Right now, you belong to me, and I am keeping you right here. A little possessive, are you not? When it is about you, absolutely. He kissed my forehead. Get used to it, Reed. You are stuck with me. Promise? I asked. Promise. An epilogue. 6 months later. The ring was simple, elegant, and perfect as he got down on one knee. He proposed in the same garden where we almost shared a kiss 9 years ago. I promised I would ask again in 6 months, he said. So here I am. Will you marry me, Nora Reed? Will you be my partner, my home, and my everything? Yes, I answered without any hesitation. Yes, I will marry you. A smile that could illuminate the entire world spread across his face. Thank God, he breathed, because I already planned the wedding. I stared. You what? I am Italian, impatient, and hopelessly in love with you. He placed the ring on my finger. I am done waiting. So we are getting married next month, if that is all right with you. Next month? I looked at the ring, then at him, then at the garden where it all started. It was perfect. The wedding was small, just family and close friends, with Marco officiating, of course. Adrian Mel, do you take this woman to be your wife? To love and to cherish, and to try very hard not to be a possessive jerk about it? Adrian grinned. I do. He turned to me. Do you, Nora Reed, take this man to be your husband? To love and to tolerate, and to occasionally remind him that he is not really in charge? I do, Marco announced. Then, by the power given to me by the state of Illinois and common sense, I declare you husband and wife. Adrian, kiss your wife before she reconsiders. The kiss was long and deep, full of future promises. As we walked back down the aisle together, our hands linked and our rings shining, I had a realization. Our future was unknown, but we would face it together. This was it. This is what 9 years of waiting looks like when it finally finds its way home. And it was absolutely perfect. The end. If this story made your heart race, if it made you feel something real, then do me a small favor. Hit that like button, leave a comment telling me which moment gave you chills, and share this with someone who needs a good love story tonight. And if you have not subscribed yet, tap that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss another story like this one. Your support means everything to me, and it helps me create more stories that touch your soul. This content was carefully researched, developed, and manually edited by our team to bring you meaningful stories and life lessons. Thank you for being here.